Then one officer thought it was funny to say, "We want to check if you have a gun." They made me sit in a caged chair, and they said you have to sit in here and for like half an hour because they had to Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. If you're a returning subscriber, if you're part of the Yo-Yo family, what's up my guy, what's up my girl? It's good to kind of be back, I guess. I've been busy with some schoolwork and stuff. But anyway, I'll just go straight to the point. First and foremost, this is just a normal story time. This is not a real tea because, well, tea is like gist, but this is a story time. I posted on my Instagram what happened to me on Saturday, and I put a poll for people to vote if they want a story time about it, and most people voted yes. So and oh, the reason I'm posting this is not because I just want to let it known, like, people doing it like, yeah, I'm bad, I did this. Nah, I'm doing this for mainly for foreigners who are in China, so that they can be so that they can be aware of what is happening and also how to deal with it. Well, I dealt with it some way. You cannot deal with it the way I did. People have different ways of dealing with things. So, without going any further, let's just get right into it. As you can read from the title, it is my involvement with Chinese police. This is a serious topic. This is something serious. It's something that happens all the time, almost all the time. But when it does happen, you think it's a joke or you think it's not that serious until it happens to you. This is what happened to me. So, for everyone who knows, obviously everywhere there's like different type of visas people can get. Here there's student visa, working visa, business visa, tourist, blah, 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 that type of thing. So Chinese law does not allow students to work. All you gotta do is come here, go to school, come back, sleep, eat, repeat. But we're humans. We need a side hustle. You need the Hermes bag, the Birkin, whatever. So everybody got a side hustle. Most people got a side hustle. Obviously, your girl had a side hustle, right? So this is what happened. About 3 weeks ago, I was at my hustle, and 50 came in. But they came into, because I was doing teaching, right? So they came into the class I was in, but I was sitting. I wasn't in front of the kids doing anything. And they came, it was two of these guys, they came in, they asked me, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm friends with the boss," right? I actually said I'm friends with whoever. I said her name. So she came, she's like, "No, she's my friend, we're about to go to lunch." So she's waiting for me to finish my class. They hung around for a bit. I think they wanted to see whether I was going to teach or not, and they left. So this was a Saturday. Sunday I didn't show up because I was still scared. And they reassured me. They're like, "Oh nah, the 50 came because this place where I was at is like an apartment." So they were like, "Oh nah, the landlord wants us to move, so we're pretty sure she told on us." So the police came, and then it's so unfortunate that you were here. I'm like, "Oh, cool." Following Saturday, nothing happened. And then, today is a Monday, right? And then 2 days ago, as usual, I went for my side hustle. I was supposed to go to Beijing with friends later that day, right? So I was like, you know what? Let me just do my thing, grab my, go home, grab my shit, and then go. As I was, the same thing that happened the first time happened, but this time 50 was wearing clothes. They were not in their uniform. This guy was so angry. He came up to me and he asked me to write my first name, my last name on a paper, and my passport number. So, me being me, I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna wing it like we did last time. No, no, no. Bible was not having it. They were not having it. Then they told me to get out of the classroom. I went into the office, and now it was serious. I could sense that it was serious. I was texting, a couple of friends asking them what do I do because I've never been in this situation. They were like, nah, you need to calm down. The Zimbabwean in me wanted to run. I wanted to run, I swear. But bad thing about it, I had given them my name, so they were still going to track me down, and it was gonna be serious than that. So I was there. This was like around 10, 11. And I was supposed to leave with friends, remember, like around 5. I'm like, yo, I need to go. Then I went to the police. He's like, nah, because we caught you here. You're doing something illegal. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then they're like, oh no, we're calling 2 more police officers. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh yeah, we're just going to do the whole thing here and then they're going to dismiss me and whatnot. Did they? They didn't. The 2 officers came and then this guy literally called me like a dog. He's like, follow me. I followed him and then my boss was there. She's like, oh no, don't worry, I'm going with you. And I'm going to put a clip of me like coming out of the police car. We went into the car. And now in my head, I'm like, oh shit. Okay, we're going to the police station. And we did. We went to the police station, guys. This is when I knew shit was real. I don't know why I'm laughing so much because when I try to think about it, I'm like, is this me? Like, this really happened to me? I only hear people talking about it, not like, and you never think you're going to go through it. We got into the police station. They took me to the back and then we went into the office. So it was me, my boss's boss, and my boss's boss's husband. But my boss's boss is the owner of the center. So the husband was really not part of it. He was just, coming with his wife. So then they were like, okay, fine, it's time for the interrogation. So my boss's boss was told to leave the room. My boss was told to interpret some stuff for me. Because they asked me, do you know how to speak Chinese? Of course I can speak Chinese, but in my head I acted stupid. I'm like, no, I can't. This dude started asking me questions. So most questions they ask, how do you know? Because I had told them that my boss is my friend. So they were like, okay, so where did you meet? My boss was there, and then this lady, I had never met her before ever, like before I started working there. She's like, oh yeah, I think we met at the subway, right? And then I'm like, yeah, subway, Being a Zimbabwean, being a girl who went to Regina Mundi High School, I mastered a couple of things. Number 1, even if you saw me doing it, I did not do it. I don't know anything about it. Even if you see me singing la la la, if you say la la la, I say I did lulu. That's just me. Number 2, Regina Mundi taught me to run. Number 3, Regina Mundi taught me to hide stuff. So in my head, I'm like, Mundi mode activated. So they're like, oh, where did you meet? And then they're like, when did you start working at the company? I'm like, I don't work there. I just help out my friend. I go for like weekends, because because we normally meet during weekends for lunch and stuff. And then, so these guys pay me through WeChat, right? So my boss then told me, delete any kind of proof. I deleted my boss's chat, the company's chat. I cleared my transactions, everything. And then they're like, so what do you do? I'm like, no, the center has, they have like dinner parties or functions. They ask me to decorate. They ask me to help them with the kids. I don't even know where these things are coming from. They're just knocking at the back of my head, coming out my mouth. And then they were talking, and then the translator came now, and they asked my boss to leave. At this point, shit became real. And then three officers, literally, I was seated, right? So three officers came and stood in front of me, and they told me, we're going to deport you. You're going to get expelled from school. You have to tell us your whole truth. And I told them, my heart was beating really fast. I think if they had a lie detector, like that lie detector machine, they were going to catch me. But then I kept my cool. One thing about these things, you have to keep your cool. You do not have to be moved. They will threaten, we will send you back to your country, you'll be expelled. No, no, no. If you change your statement, you're going to make it worse. And I told them, they were literally standing in front of me saying everything. And I told them, I think you want me to lie. So if you want me to lie, then yeah, I was working with him. Then he's like, oh, okay. Then he sat down. Then he's like, okay, fine. So I'm going to repeat all the questions I asked you. They literally asked me 5 questions from 12 to 5 p.m. Then the translator, this guy left, I think. Then the translator comes to me. Then she's like, I want to help you. Just tell them the truth. And I'm like, girl, who is you? You think I don't know? And then they asked me again, how did you meet your boss? Where did you meet her? How long have you known her? How long have you been working at this thing? And then for some reason, the company secretary forgot to delete our chats on her WeChat, like on the computer. They took pictures and they came with proof showing I was being paid, showing them when I was saying I'm coming to work. And then I'm like, you know what, let me tell you something. I told them I'm a visual board designer. If there's something like that, what do you call those ones? Visual board. Is it a visual board? Whatever. They're like, oh, visual boards, visual boards electronic. I'm like, hey, I don't know Chinese visual boards. As Africans, we have them. We put them on charts. And my girl, I was saying things. And then they're like, okay, so how much do you get paid? They actually literally ask you, how much were you getting paid for these things? And I told them if it was for like 8 classes or whatever, I would get this certain amount. If it was for 1 class, this amount. If it was for babies, this amount, blah, 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 this amount. They're like, okay, do you have any pictures of the work you do? And I told them my phone fell in the toilet, so I do not have any pictures. And then I'm like, I literally don't even have my mother's number in my phone. Then they're like, okay. And then he's like, bring your phone here. I was recording the conversation. And then I quickly paused it, or I stopped it, and I gave them my phone. They checked, they saw nothing. Then he's like, okay, fine. We want you to know that you are not allowed to do this. I'm like, I didn't know that helping out a friend is not allowed. Like, I really didn't know about that. They asked me the same questions again because they wanted to check if I was lying. And then they're like, how about all these amounts? It seems like you receive money from her every week. God forgive me for what I did. Then I started crying and I said, my father recently died, so I was borrowing money to help with the burial arrangements. My father died in 1999, guys. I'm sure wherever he is like, this child, she will not kill me again. How? Just thinking about it. So then, at this point, they were literally convinced that I was telling the truth. Then he's like, oh, do you have any illegal record in China? I'm like, no, I don't. They checked their computer. They saw that I was clean. They were writing. So as I was talking to the guys, they were typing as if like I was giving the statement, no. And then after doing all that, they're like, okay, you should never do it again. As soon as someone says you should never do it again, they're now in your palm. What do? I started fidgeting on the chair. I was grumpy. They're like, are you hungry? They sent someone to buy me food. I'm like, I don't like your food. I don't want it. And then I'm like, I'm not feeling well. I need to go to the hospital. And then they're like, oh no, don't worry. Do you want us to give you some water? I'm like, I don't drink water. And I started sneezing. And they said, oh, what is it? I'm like, something smells in here. Can you take me out of it? I was being too extra for nothing. What if they told me to go behind bars for being extra? Hey, but anyway, they took me from the office And then they were like, well, we need to get your fingerprints, we need to get a picture. Not a mugshot. And yeah, so we went into another room, and then a female police officer came, and she had that one, that one where they the frisk one. I don't even know what it's called. I call it a frisk one. Then one officer thought it was funny to say, we want to check if you have a gun. Excuse you. If I had a gun, do you think I would bring it to a police station? Like, anywho, they took my picture. No, they didn't. They said it's not working because I was too tall for the thing, I think. Because I was the biggest in the room, yeah? You know how Chinese people are like this? I was like that. And I think they were just scared of me for some reason. Because then after that, they took me to the interrogation room. They made me sit in a caged chair. And they said, you have to sit in here and for like half an hour, because they had to record. It was supposed to be like on record. Then they're like, we were actually supposed to interrogate you in this room, but because you're a girl and we respected you, we had to do it in the office to make you feel comfortable. So I just sat in the chair doing nothing. They were talking, and for some reason these people were now exchanging numbers, because the translator, right, the lady translator, and the translator, the lady translator, the lady trans. That one, you know what I'm trying to say. That lady was, and the male officer. They were now talking, right? In Chinese. And then he was asking, oh, are you married? She's like, oh, do I look like I'm married? I live in Hebei. He's like, oh, give me a WeChat. They exchanged numbers. I'm like, so these people are using my case to build a family. Wow. Interesting. But I just sat there. Then after like some time, I was like, yo, are we done? Then one officer left, because there was two officers and the lady translator. And then he came back with forms for me to fill. They also gave me some type of subpoena that showed that I was summoned to the police station. And I asked them if I could take pictures of my statement. They said it wasn't allowed. I asked them to take pictures of at least where I was. They said it wasn't allowed. The clips I am going to put are stolen clips. Like, you have to steal a moment, like stolen moments. And then I just signed. They didn't take my fingerprints. They didn't put them into the computer, thankfully. Because if they did, I think that would reveal that I have a criminal record here for working illegally. And then the subpoena mainly states that I'm not. I broke the law. Yeah, that's what is going on. Simply because you went to police station, now you can't speak English. Jesus. It simply states that I violated Chinese rules. Working in China under my X1 visa, which is a student visa, and that I complied and went to the station and whatnot. Basic ABC stuff. And then I signed my statement. They wanted to read it to me again. Bro, this was like 6 pages of. I was like, yeah, you know what? If you made a mistake, that's on you guys. I don't give a fuck. I just want to go. By this time, it was around 5:30, I think, because we got to the station around 12. And then my bosses were there. They even told me, oh, you can now go. You're about to go. Do you have a mask? They gave me a mask at the police station. And then now, the police officer who dragged me from my hustle is like, I know you're the teachers in charge of international students at your school, and they're my friends. So you and I, if you want, I can be your friend. I can help you. If you want me to ask them for help for you, I'll do it. Then I'm like, pause. So if police officers want to have a party here, is it okay if I come and help you? He's like, oh yeah, I would love that. I'm like, isn't this the same thing you're dragging me for, like for helping out my friend? Then as he was about, I think he said something, and I'm like, you know what, thank you so much, I appreciate the treatment, but I think I have enough friends. And then we stood up. Then they all just looked at me because I was done with them. So I stood up. Then it was time for me to leave. My boss's boss was interrogated at the same time that I was being interrogated. So it was now my boss's turn and the secretary to be interrogated. And then we went outside and I was filling in my boss of what they had asked me. And then one officer came and he's like, "You're not allowed to talk to her." So I just then got my taxi and I left. So basically, that's my encounter with police officers. One thing I'll encourage people to do is never change a statement. Do not panic. Okay? When you see they are now in your palm, that's when you can cry and be grumpy and shit. But, I think it just depends on where you are or what type of police they are. Because some do the most for the littlest things. Some people have been cuffed. I wasn't cuffed. They didn't take my phone. Unless, except for the time they were like checking for messages and transactions and stuff. So yeah, just to be safe, guys. Do your hustle, but don't get caught. If you know, you know. Anyway, thank you so much. This is a story time that I did. This is just basic stuff. To everyone who reached out to me, asking me if I was okay, checking up on me, to everyone who called me, I thank you. I appreciate you so much. But yes, guys, I am fine. Nothing serious. My stay in China is not compromised for now, unless if they catch me again, because I'm sure I will hustle again. My stay is not compromised. Other nitty-gritties like fines and stuff are going to be dealt with. And yeah, so this is the story time, and stay safe. No matter what you do not forget that God loves you. Love yourself. I love you.